Hello, everybody. It's Aslan and Michael here to talk recruiting live on YouTube. Thanks for being here. Warchant.com, the ultimate Seminoles sports source. It's only $29.99 to subscribe to Warchant.com. All the information we're talking about has probably already been answered on the premium recruiting board by Michael Langston himself. You would have known about this well in advance for only $29.99 from now all the way to September 1st. What are you waiting for? Subscribe to Warchant.com. What else should they do, Michael, to show some love as we start off here on Wednesday on this live chat?
We love when you guys hit the like button. So hit the like button, helps us promote all these great features and videos. Wake Up War Chant, certainly our live recruiting show, and just all kinds of great things that we do. By the way, guys, I'm sporting the Brevard County Seminole Club shirt. I want to give them a little love. As you can see, my shirt a little bit there. Want to give them a little love. I spoke with them, last week, so that was a lot of fun. I had a good time over there in Melbourne, so want to give them a little shout out. So appreciate all what you guys did. Thanks for all the hospitality, but definitely hit the like button for us, guys, and we can. It helps us just promote and keep these things cranking.
Well said. Shout out to the good folks over at Brevard. Michael, we were going to do a chat last week, but Michael had to be on the road talking to the people. So
Yeah.
we're here doing it now. We'll do this again next week as well as we get ready for the spring showcase, the Garden and Gold spring showcase. So we'll do it again next Wednesday, probably 6 o'clock again. But definitely Wednesday will be going down right here on YouTube. So thanks for coming and hanging out. Put it down on your calendars. Let's start off, Michael. Usually we ask you to talk about some stuff going on, but we got questions already, which is cool. We like that. We'll get right to it. Joey Amenta, have we given up on Landon Thomas, or is he still a possibility, Michael?
Oh, he's very much a possibility, Joey. They're very much active with him. I expect him to visit FSU several times. I would not be surprised if you see him at the spring game later. I'm already compiling a list. I will have a list for those wondering. I do. I'm just really focused on the guys leading up to the visits of that April 15th weekend. Like I said, as we saw this week, there's going to be some visitors, some significant visitors, and then there's going to be some more on the 6th of April, and then there's also going to be some more, I think, just right before, the end of the, before we get to that April 15th. So you might have some visitors between the 10th and 13th, and so I think the 13th, if I'm not mistaken, is the last day of I guess a spring practice. So I think you will see some more visitors. But yes, Landon is a guy that they're extremely active with. Even though they had another four-star tight end on campus yesterday, I think he's a guy that they like a lot. Grew up a fan of FSU, committed to him at one point, but the program was in a certain, not a great place. He committed to Georgia, but ever since then he's been coming consistently to FSU. So I think you'll see him more on campus. They certainly haven't given up, and that's a guy they're very active with, and there's very mutual interest when it comes to Landon. I think there's a very real shot.
Who was the other four-star?
The other four-star, yeah, the other four-star is Martavius Collins. He was previously committed to Alabama. He's a four-star tight end. He visited yesterday. Our own Matt Lassier got up with him after it was over. We will have a story on him. Was very blown away by just everything he saw on campus. And the even better news is he's locking in an official visit to see FSU. So he's definitely going to officially visit FSU. So that's another target. Another one on there they didn't visit, but will visit in later this April is Kylan Fox. We've talked about him several times. The kid from Valdosta, although he plays at Grayson now, has a lot of connections to Jaheim Bell. Certainly knows the FSU program really well. I think FSU's trending in the best position with Fox, so that's the guy I'd probably say is the most likely because I think FSU's in a good spot with Fox. So they're certainly addressing that tight end room. And as we saw with the receiver room, that tight end room is slowly starting to get really nice for FSU. It's kind of a lot more attractive. And certainly with guys like Jaheim Bell and Kyle Morton, I think that's going to add a lot to prospects wanting to be a part of this offense.
You got a lot of tight ends already, man. You got a lot. You got Marquiston, got Jaheim, Kyle Morlock, Brian Courtney, Terrell Powers.
They got it working
here. Preston Daniel. I mean, we're hoping. I guess maybe I shouldn't speak for everybody, but I mean, Jaheim has a really good season. He's probably going to go to the NFL, so that opens the spot. But man, I guess this is what they're going to do, huh, Michael? They're always going to have like 5 tight ends on scholarship.
I just think when you add a guy like Jaheim Bell, that makes your room really sexy. when you have a guy that does what this guy does. So they've certainly gradually improved that room. And man, Kyle Morlock's kind of the guy they forget about, but I've heard a lot of really good things about him, this spring of how he's doing out there. So that's a guy, don't forget about that. So I think this tight end room is really getting better and better. And certainly Marquiston Douglas had a really good year, I felt, last year. Really took a big step forward, maybe a breakout candidate, if you will, for the team. But I think that tight end room is now starting to look, very similar to kind of the way we thought about the receiver room before they added all those transfers.
Our guy Eric Angel, not Michael Angel. Eric Angel. Michael, he asks, Mario Craver, 4-star wideout. Do you think he lands with FSU in 2024? I see a bunch of schools on his list.
Yeah, he just narrowed it down to a top 10. FSU made that cut. My thing is with that, Eric, is I want to see him visit. I don't really pay attention to the top 8, top 10 list when the recruits put out there. I pay attention to if you put that, but I want to see a follow up. Are you visiting? To my knowledge, he hasn't visited FSU yet. I do know that he is really impressed with FSU. Now he might have visited early in the spring, and I'm just losing track, but I don't remember. It just didn't stick out to me as far as a visit, but he's a guy that certainly they're involved with. They like, is a very, very good playmaker. But I think it's still we're not going to know until he actually gets up there to FSU for a detailed visit that really just jumps out. He's not a name. I mean, there is a very strong board as far as that wide receiver board. We've covered that. We just started releasing the hot board, I think, a few weeks ago, and you see all the big names on there. Mario's a name that was others in the mix for me, but I think I want to see kind of what I want to see him visit, and just then we can go from there from the pecking order about where FSU sits.
Scott Fells, hey guys, do you think we get KJ?
It's a little early on that, but I think they certainly made a big step forward as far as the 2-day visit he did. For those that haven't read, I had a big story on KJ Bolden. In his 2-day visit, he was very detailed. He was very clear about the connections of both what he had with Norvell and both what he had with Certain. It's kind of the stuff you want to see. There's a lot of we and us in there. For the people that don't know, KJ grew up a big FSU fan, so he's certainly liking the direction of what FSU is doing. I think he's going to take some official visits. He's going to announce those visits on the 29th. Here's the thing with KJ, even if he doesn't officially visit FSU at that or announce FSU official visit, he's still going to see FSU like 2 or 3 times. The source told me close to him. But I think FSU's likely going to get an official visit. I think they really made a strong impression about what the program's doing, and I love everyone asked me like, what's your favorite part of the stories, and so I'll just pick one part. Just for me, it was KJ and the meeting he had with Norvell. He's like, look, he told him like directly, this is what it is. And I want you to come here because you want to be here. I don't want you to come here because you want to start or you plan on starting or you want to make money or stuff like that. Yeah, I want you to come here because you want to be here and you want to be a part of what we're building. And I think that's a big deal. I think that's a big deal when you look at it of um, it's telling you like there's no surprises when you come here. So I think FSU did a really good job being genuine with KJ, and it really connected with him. He certainly loved the greeting of how FSU greets him. And also, I think he loved being around Adam Fuller. A lot of people, we hear a lot of talk about Adam Fuller, and people don't give him the praise, but Adam from what I heard from people in my intel with KJ Bolden, Adam did a phenomenal job yesterday with him. In the last 2 days with him, I think Patrick Surtain did a really good job as well. Obviously, I've talked about Mike Norvell, so I think the staff as a whole did a really good job on this visit, giving him something different than a lot of schools have done, in how unique and genuine and straightforward. And like, hey, we know you're a 5-star plus player, but we're not going to change how we are. This is what we do, and this is what we expect. And if you want to come here, we want you to be here because you buy into what we're doing. It's not about like flashy things. It's like, this is what we are. That's what I think FSU's message was. And I think it resonated really well. I think KJ even said one point his mom was like nodding a lot when the meeting with Norvell. She really liked what she was hearing. So mom's already gave her stamp of approval. It seems like for FSU. So I think they definitely made a really strong surge as far as that visit. He is visiting Auburn and Alabama this week. I think he's going to go back to Georgia as well, who I think is the perceived leader. I think Georgia's there, and I think Florida State's there. I think Auburn's also there, but I think FSU is the biggest threat to Georgia. But I think the official visits will really kind of tell the story. But I think they did a lot, and I think the official visit is likely for FSU with KJ Bolden.
I don't know why I pulled up the Craver kid, but I did.
It's okay.
Next question comes from Garrett. Who's the best recruit in Tallahassee? And do we have a shot with them?
Yeah, you do. He's right down the road at FSU High in Makai Danzy. He's a running back / athlete. I've heard he's actually going to be. It was kind of a segue of good job, Garrett. You kind of segue into. I was going to mention Danzy. A running back out of FSU High or Florida High. I don't know. I guess FSU University High. I don't know. What I don't want to mess up the name, but either way, great program. A very good running back. Very athletic, dynamic guy that you can. It's kind of similar to what Lawrence Toafili does a lot with FSU. He does a lot of similar things. Very good out of the backfield. Very good hands. Very good speed. Big time track guy. He's very high on track guy, very high on track. And FSU's done a really good job, even with the track recruiting him as well. So I think they've done well. I think he wants to do both in the college level. I like kind of where FSU sits, and I'll say this: he's supposed to be there Thursday, and I would not be surprised, Aslan, if we get an earlier decision than expected. I'm not guaranteeing it, guys. But I think he's a guy to watch just in case, because I think there's a good, strong push from FSU. They've made him coveted. I think they like him as an athlete. Not that I don't think they want to label just as like a running back all the way. I think athlete is the way I've heard the FSU's recruiting him, because they like him kind of in that Ja'Kai Douglas role where he can play both running back and receiver. So Tanzy's probably the guy if you're looking for a Tallahassee kid. That's the kid that's probably the best, I would say, and they certainly have a great shot with Danzy.
Finally found it. You guys thought I wasn't going to be able to find his profile, but I finally found it. Pensacola Packbuster asks Michael, I know every recruitment is different, but what makes you believe another recruit is slightly leaning towards another school? Like when you say another school slightly has the edge.
Just the information I get from both people close to the recruit or people close to the recruit, or people from the side of the team that I think they're lead for, and the information I'm getting from the FSU side of things, it doesn't mesh to where you're getting the warm and fuzzies of, hey, FSU leads. I think there's work to do. So that's what I mean when I say slightly leaning. I think that what that means is I'm saying FSU is very much in it, but I think FSU feels there's still work to do to get where they want to get. So that's what I mean when I say, it's slightly leaning in there.
All right. Bang! Let's go. Good dentist is here, everybody. Z-Chan.
Oh, DMD. I love it.
Z-Chan. Great dentist. If you're in Thomasville, I think everybody go check him out.
Maybe I need to change my thing and go to Thomasville now, since he's paying money to me or giving a donation to me. So maybe I need to change my location. Right. But we appreciate it, Z. Appreciate that. By the way, it's in the comments, Wes. I got to stop by and see Wes in the Villages. We had lunch together. That was a lot of fun. We got to hang out and chat for a little bit on my way back from Melbourne. So thanks so much, Wes. Had a great time, talking FSU. So I want to give a shout out. I know he put a message on there, so I wanted to thank him.
We'll leave Z-Chan up on the screen. He deserves it.
Yes.
Dropping bags on your screen.
Ask a question.
I know, right? That's how it works, man. He knows the drill. Meanwhile, Eric Angel's asking Mike, what about any defensive linemen coming to visit? Since Florida State's liable to lose Jared Verse, probably Fabian Lovett, et cetera. How are they looking on the defensive line recruiting?
Yeah, I think they've had a few already this week, if I'm not mistaken. I'm cheating, guys, because I'm looking at the this week of how this week went. So just give me a second. I think there's a few. Yeah, Dede Holmes is actually on campus. Actually, I should correct myself. Just left campus. Our own Matt just got a story with him. He's gonna break it down for you guys. Probably a defensive end. I think that's a guy that he visited Tuesday and Wednesday. Um, really liked everything. Uh,
This guy
he
from Washington, D.C.?
Yeah. Came all the way down from Washington D.C. to FSU. He was at the practice yesterday. We briefly talked with him a little bit, raved about a lot of things going on. Matt's going to have a full story, guys, so that's coming up. He certainly visited, and then I think let's see here. Yeah, he's been the main one as far as recently. There's a lot of visits that are coming up. I think four-star defensive lineman Kendall Jackson, who I think favors Florida early on. I think he's coming over. He visited FSU early in the spring. That's another guy that I think is going to be on campus there for FSU, tomorrow. So um, there's a lot more. I mean, I could cover all these guys. There's so many guys that have visited, like Cam Franklin visited earlier this spring. I think FSU is very heavy there. Dylan Stevenson also visited FSU. He will be at the FSU spring game. He's already confirmed to me. So there's been several. The defensive end board is really strong. I think this year there's really 4 or 5 guys that I think FSU is very a real possibility. LJ McCray out of Mainland, 4-star defensive end. He visited FSU spring. I think he's going to come back again. I think Florida's the main competition, but I like FSU slightly a little bit better as far as where they sit. I think FSU's certainly making a push, but Florida's certainly right there. But those are some of the main ones. But there's a lot. I mean, there's so many that have actually come this spring, but those are just a couple. I think we have a hot board breakdown that's coming on those guys, so that'll answer all your questions as far as FSU stands. But I kind of like where FSU stands as far as with LJ McCray. Look at that. Look at Matt.
Matt,
Let me brag. Let me
do
brag
something.
about.
You don't have to watch the show. Go have fun, man. You're off.
Let me tell you guys, like Matt, I know you guys are learning new about Matt, but Matt has done a phenomenal job. Like Matt has really killed it, especially in recruiting. I know he's done a lot of stuff and helped with the team stuff. He has been phenomenal. The updates have been out of this real world, just unreal as far as getting all these features. He's been out there. I can honestly admit he's been out there a little more even than I have, and I'm out there a lot. So Matt done a phenomenal job, and we're excited. The work that he's doing, and so certainly look for that. Matt's going to have a story on Dede Holmes coming up. He also will have a story, I think, on Martavius Collins that will also be coming up. So got a lot of stuff going. Dede Holmes, he'll cover that, Chris, in a little while. He just wrapped up the visit, so Matt's going to probably post a little update on the board. I'm sure he'll put it in the updates and let you know, kind of the brief summary, and then after that, he'll get into a full story, probably later tonight or soon on how it went for Dede Holmes.
All right, let's keep it with some of this local stuff here. Our guy Z-Chan was wondering, since I am from Thomasville, anybody my way worth us looking at? I feel like all of Central was at high school like last week. Michael, what's going on?
Yeah, they were. They had some Central kids up there. I think Malachi Thomas is a guy that they're kind of intrigued with a little bit, but outside that, Z, there's not like a lot. There's not like a major target yet. But I'm sure they recruit that area so often. I'm sure there's going to be some guys that pop up that come into the the picture. I think they had I can't remember his name. Visited from Lowndes in that area, but there's going to be more in there, but I don't think there's a serious target yet as far as that goes. But love the question. Keep them firing, man. Give me some more, Z. If you got more, that's good. But wish I could give you more, but there's not a lot there yet.
What happened to the kid Gabe something that was to Thomasville?
Yeah, he ended up at Georgia.
Yeah,
he signed with Georgia.
Well, we had him for a minute, It's got to count for something, I guess. Tom Kirkpatrick wonders about JoJo Trader.
Yeah, for those that missed it, if you go to PRB and maybe Aslan can pull that up, you can see I did a recruiting intel breakdown. This is only for the subscribers. I broke down so many guys that had a lot of guys that I got intel on that visited this spring. JoJo's in there. As far as answering that, I would say FSU, Miami are in a tight battle as far as what I'm hearing. A lot. I think he was really impressed by FSU. It's in one of the pin topics. I think if you scroll up, is that it right there?
Yeah, I found it.
Yep. Okay. Aslan's clutch. So yeah, that covers a lot of the guys. I gave you really a lot of just bullet points, guys. I just focused on the main things that I know you would care about, subscribers would care about. Go in there. You can read all about JoJo Trader and a lot of other guys. I think it's the FSU Miami battle for JoJo. I think he's going to come back. I want to say late this spring. I don't know if it'll be for the spring game. If not, it'll be maybe shortly after that. But he will definitely visit FSU. It definitely is going to officially visit both FSU and Miami, who I think are the teams that they're trending the most with JoJo. So that's certainly something to watch, and we'll have more on JoJo once he visits again. But yeah, I love when you guys segue my stuff. So I love it. Leads into the intel thing I did early this week of the wrap. So check that out, guys. A lot of stuff in there for you.
Let's go! Let's go! Big Money Ray! Big ballin', smashing, making my ends. He's a pillar, y'all. It's Ray Pereira.
Greetings from the dungeon. Is he in the dungeon? Did he go to the dungeon again or not?
Oh, yeah. Part of the dungeon crew. I am not part of the dungeon crew.
Okay. I am.
You are.
Okay, I'm down with that. So Ray, thank you so much, dude. We appreciate it. Can't say enough. Appreciate all the love. I mean, we are very humbled when you guys do this. Like we don't plan this or any of that stuff. So when you guys do this, we really appreciate it. Thank you so much for the very generous donation, both from Ray and all the people that have certainly Z, all the guys that certainly give us donations. We greatly appreciate that. I don't want you guys to think that we take it for granted, because it's a very big thing to us, and we appreciate it.
Did you make it to the Final Four, Ray? Did you watch the national championship? Our guys in Houston. So shout out to Ray. Greetings, Michael and Aslan. Michael, you called it beforehand on Rodney Hill and Vandrevius Jacobs. Who will be your sleeper for this class? I'll be coming to Tallahassee soon for a visit. Go Noles.
Now he's talking about 2024, correct?
Yeah. So
let's pull it up. Let's pull up the commit list so I can give you a very direct answer, because I don't want to leave anybody out. So
that's all right. Yeah, there we go.
You're good.
We got Cam Davis. We got Jordan Pride, Luke Cromenhawk, which we need to talk about him in Elite 11, right?
Yeah.
Tawaski Abrams, Camden Fryer, CJ. Have you heard? Jamori Flagg, Jaden Parrish, Jake Weinberg.
I'm going to go with, for me, I'm going to go with the legacy, Camden Fryer, because I think he's underappreciated of exactly how good he is. I've seen Camden several times in person. Very fast receiver, which is not a surprise. His dad had some wheels too. But I love how this kid gets in and out of his routes. I love his body control catching the ball. I think he's in a big year. I mean, I think he's over there now at Columbia High School, and I think you're going to see a big year from, I think, Camden, and that's a guy that I think is very underrated as far as what he does. Very good on special teams, as you can see here with the kickoff. They use him a lot on kickoffs and special teams, but he is so good at getting in and out of his routes, and just has some big time wheels, I think. But my favorite thing about him is how in control he is when he is in his routes. You see a lot of kids that they're really fast, they go in the routes, but sometimes they're going so fast that they're not under control. I think Camden's always under control when you watch a lot of his route running, and that's one of the best things he has is that the explosiveness and the short space out of those routes. And I just think I think this is a guy that probably if it's a sleeper, I would pick him. I think this guy's going to be special.
Speaking of special, what up, Ray? Love you, big dog.
There
You
you
gonna come to
go.
Orlando for the LSU game, man? Let us know. But before then, hopefully we'll see you in Tallahassee beforehand. But yeah, Vandrevius Jacobs, I kind of stole a little bit of your thunder, I think, Michael.
Yeah.
I think I also nominated him as my kind of favorite player of the class, and he's so far it's good. He's got this football thing.
Yeah,
figured out.
I'm not. I mean, everyone asks me that. I get a lot of emails and texts about Dre Jacobs doing so well. Are you surprised? I'm not surprised because he was one of the best receivers in the whole state of Florida last year. He plays against good competition. Played at Vero Beach High School. Shout out to the Indians. But he just there's a certain explosiveness he has in short space and in just top end speed that is just really special that they don't have a lot of. As good as they've done receivers, there's not like a ton of guys with big time speed in that slot position. Jake Douglas is one that's pretty good, but I think Dre is just at another level as far as the different things that he can add to your offense. So certainly he's already had a really good spring, and I think there's a lot of receivers. I mean, you have Goldie Lawrence coming in the summer. I think Hakeem Williams is there as well. He's flashed some. So I think it's a lot of excitement about that receiver group. But yeah, Dre is certainly tearing it up.
Corey McClellan just joined, so sorry if I missed it. Saw Dustin Hill was admitted. Any other news other than that?
Corey, you should get on Warchant more often. There we kind of revealed everything that was going on April 1st. It wasn't a full April Fool's Day either. Like I was at FSU. I got some news on April 1st that that Dustin Hill is going to be at FSU on May 13th. That was what my FSU contact. Now, this is the first time I had heard from anybody with FSU related that he was coming. Like, okay, this is real. It's just not just a rumor or innuendo. So we reported that on April 1st that he's coming on May 13th. So my understanding when that was reported that he had already been that everything had been he was in the process of being admitted. So and then later it happened, but there's not really a lot of news to report on it except for what we had on the site on. If you go to the thread, I think it's still up there and pinned on the PRB of what the kind of status was, and certainly him being in there. And I can tell you guys, I'll say the same thing I've said before. The news I got from the FSU contact is somebody that's very well set into this recruitment, so they would know. So I felt very good about it. So I let Ira know, and he made sure we got something up there. But yeah, he's something. It's certainly going to be big news. I will be there, assuming it is May 13th, and he's there. Certainly I will be there for the arrival, but that's kind of the plan. There's not really more to add than that, except for what FSU is expecting as far as what I hear that he will be here in May.
All right. Do we know? Yeah, I mean, I saw a thread about him being admitted, so
yeah,
I can't confirm or corroborate it, but yeah, it's out there. So
yeah,
all the pieces falling in place for
yep.
Dustin Hill's arrival. Who would have thunk it? Cool Breeze, chances Jordan Pride sticks.
It's gonna be a battle. I mean, I've said that. I mentioned that in my recruiting intel for the spring. It's going to be a battle. Florida's still in there. Now, I will say there's some interesting news that Florida seems to be trending for other safeties. I think they already got a commit, and then I think they have one of the top three safeties in the country. They're also likely going to get him too. So, and I feel like there's some trending momentum, a little bit with FSU since Surtain's been in there. I think FSU's done a really good job of connecting with him and letting him see kind of what they do. He's been to FSU a few times already this spring. That's a big deal. Before he hadn't visited FSU in a year, even though he's committed to him. Visit Florida more so. You see it slightly starting to turn a little bit, but I still think it's going to be a battle. I think Florida's still going to come. I think there's several other schools. I think Jordan's even said in a recent article on On3 that he was going to take some, just some check out some places because it is a new relationship with Surtain. So he wants to make sure, whatever. Just you make sure it's the right place. But the good news, like I say, is this has been going on for over a year, and he still hasn't decommitted. So it tells you a lot about what he feels about FSU. So that part, if you're looking for a silver lining, that's good. But at the same time, I think I think certainly they're working it hard. They want to keep him in this class, but it is going to be a battle. It's still going to be a battle until I hear otherwise. So that's kind of where I feel things sit with Jordan Pride.
Good stuff, Michael. Let's see here. Joey Amenta's back. Beating Clemson and LSU more important for recruiting this year, Michael?
Going into season, you got to pick the first game, right? So
Yeah.
I would say LSU right now. Now, if you do win that game, then certainly I would switch to later to Clemson. I don't think you can just say one game is more important. But if you want to really
you
pick
win one of them, Michael, if you can only win one, if you can only win the LSU game or the Clemson game, which one do you want to win?
If you can only win one, I would win Clemson, because if you beat Clemson, you're likely going to the ACC title game. You're probably going to play for an ACC championship. That's a step forward up. I agree with you, Joey. It's a little more, but I think it's close because I think both of those games are impactful. And if you win both of those games, there's a pretty strong or solid chance, assuming you beat the teams you're supposed to beat, that you could be in the playoff. So that's a very real possibility. But I think Clemson a little bit more for me, because that's kind of the main rival in the ACC when you look at it. Nothing against you, Miami, but you guys aren't good right now. So we're considering mainly Clemson, because Clemson's kind of owned them, as of recently. So I think you have to go with Clemson, a little bit more. But I agree with Joey. That's kind of my stance. But at the same time, it's kind of like, if we're doing it before the season, I'm going to say probably, the LSU is going to be focused, because that's the first team you play. So, and that game would have a solid impact on your recruiting if you win. But yeah, I'll agree with you, Joey. I'll go a little bit more with Clemson, just because it's an ACC rival and it impacts your conference situations.
All right, you guys convinced me. I was going to say, like, it would be a bummer to start off the year 0-1, but even if you lose LSU, you probably drop 3 spots most.
Right.
And then if you rally and you were able to beat Clemson, then that's a huge win, and that's beating Clemson in Death Valley.
Right.
And, like you said, puts you in the catbird seat for winning the ACC, which gets you maybe the playoff conversation. So
how about you just win both of them, Joey? How about that? Just win both of them, and then you can be excited 2 ways.
Come on, Mike. Figure it out, Mike. You're making like $7 million a year now, Mike. You can do it. You can do it.
There you go.
All right, Kurt seriously says, Michael, you said the staff really likes Ty Hilton from Oviedo High School. Do you know how much Ty likes the staff and if he's got any leans?
Yeah, he likes the staff a lot. He's visited FSU probably more than any place as far as what I can see. I think FSU is probably the team that he hasn't said there's a leader, but if there is one, you really follow the visits. You follow just how their recruitment is trending, and I think FSU's trending in a good spot. They like him a lot. That's a guy I've heard consistently through my FSU contacts. Like, we really like this guy. This is a guy that's mentioned often in the breakdowns. I think he's a guy that certainly visited FSU. I want to say like 3 times already. So there's no question that how he feels about FSU. I just don't think he's in a hurry to do anything. But as of now, I'd say FSU's probably in the best spot with him.
Mm-hmm. Andre Elam, man of the South, man of Atlanta. What's up, he says. How's FSU trending with offensive lineman Juan Gaston from Westlake High School in the ATL?
Yeah, he's in the picture. I don't think he's a guy that I would consider like a top-tier guy of the guys I've covered, both in the hot board or not. I think he's a guy they're intrigued by, interested in. I think they want to see him in person a little more, see what happens in a detailed visit or maybe even a camp setting. But I haven't heard much about a lot of buzz with FSU. There's been other schools more so than FSU, but I think FSU is intrigued by him, but they're trying to work on getting him on campus. And then once he gets on campus, I can give you a pecking order, feel of where they're trending. But till then, I have to wait for that.
He's also a 2025 prospect, everybody. So,
yep.
Chill. Appreciate you, though, Andre. Always repping the kids out there in Atlanta.
Love it.
We got a lot of Gwinnett folk, but not a lot of Fulton County. So let's get Fulton County some love, some praise. Keith Quaz. Concerned about depth at linebacker this year? There's no question mark. There's just a period, so it might be a statement. Concerned about depth at linebacker this year. Are we still pursuing Byron Vaughn in the transfer portal? Is FSU pursuing any linebackers 2024?
They are monitoring linebackers. I don't think they're pursuing. I haven't heard much with Byron, so there hasn't been much there. But I think they've kind of put that on hold until after the spring. Then I think you're going to see a lot more some linebacker targets and other positions pop on the radar. As I said, safety is the biggest thing. I think that's the thing they're locked in on as far as a top-notch safety to add to this defense. Add to that experience to have in there with. They have a lot of talented guys, but I think as far as linebacker, I don't think there's like a set guy or set guy they know for sure. But I do think they're monitoring linebackers that enter the portal just in case. But keep in mind, Keith, that's not a position that there's, like I've said before, when they add guys from the portal, it's usually there's a hole. So there's not too many holes in there. You got 3 starting linebackers returning. So that's a tough sell when you're selling that. So I think if they do add a linebacker, it's going to be somebody that's really young, that's probably unhappy where they're at, but it's very talented, and FSU feels like they fit what they do, and you can slowly bring it along so they can come in there, boom, insert themselves into being the competition the following year with guys probably leaving, some of these guys leaving at linebacker position the following year. So I think that's kind of what I'm looking for. If they do add a linebacker, I think it's going to be probably somebody young.
Let's go! Come on! More! I love it! Yeah! What? James B, y'all. James B, another pillar. Part of the program. Pensacola's finest. Appreciate you, man. He's on there. 200 American in the jar. Thank you, James B. Generosity is, I would say unparalleled, but, Ray's up there with you, too. You guys are awesome. You guys are awesome human beings. Good evening, he says, Michael. Michael, does the baseball team not having a great go of it hurt our chances at getting those 2 sport athletes?
I don't think it hurts them because I think a lot of these recruits understand their situation. They're taking over a situation where things were not great. When Link took over, they know what type of coach Link is. It's going to take time. It's not going to be a perfect. I think that early series win against TCU kind of made it feel like it was ahead of what it was, but there's going to be growing pains. So I think recruits know this. It's kind of like, too, when Mike Norvell took over. The basic principles of what your program's built on is what kids look at. Obviously, there's going to be a point where you want to see more, winning down the line. But I think first year, I think people understand and recruits understand it's a developmental process, but it doesn't change what FSU is a baseball program. You have a really great coach. He's certainly done it wherever he's been, but it's not going to be built in a day. So I think a lot of these recruits understand that. So I don't think it really affects it too much, James.
I know it's going to be built overnight, man, but we didn't ask for the house to get demolished either, man.
That's true too.
It's so
That's very
sad.
true. It's tough.
If you listen to the podcast, man, Florida State baseball has never in its history, in existence, dating back to 1948, ever had a losing season. They very well are looking at having a losing season for the first time ever in Link Jarrett's first year.
That's
Tallahassee's own son. But I mean, he's a great coach. It's just incredible they went into this year this shorthanded in the bullpen on the bump period, and they're just so young, man, that they're trying to figure it out in the lineup. But yeah, man, I don't know, Cam Davis. This day and age, I don't even know how many guys really are going to be able to try to play 2 sports. So I figure at some point there's a push-pull, and I don't know, Michael, I don't want to speak for you, but I would think that, you'll pick one over the other, and it'd probably be football if you're Cam Davis, so baseball becomes a little bit more irrelevant in the formula.
And they know, I mean, these kids know that they need help and they need players and need talent, and that's what they are. So They know they have a good coach. If you followed FSU baseball throughout, I mean, a lot of these young kids have. I think they know it's going to be a process, but at the same time, they know what FSU is and what they bring to the table as from a baseball program, even though they are struggling to a poor level. I think they still understand that. I agree with you that football is going to be king, but also they know, they need players to help, turn the program, and it's no different than what Norvell did when he started. So I think it will get there. It's going to take some patience, but I don't think it really has too much effect on a lot of these recruits, top recruits that are football.
I'll say this: I think the curve for Link is going to be a lot. Next year, they'll be much better than what Florida State went 2020 to 2021. So at least we have that going for us. But that's enough baseball talk.
Yeah.
Oh
gosh.
No, you're fine. Just a little bit. Pensacola Packbusters asking, when do you think we'll start seeing a lot more recruits commit? Will it be after the spring game, or when do most of our targets have their decision date set for?
I would say a lot of them in the spring game, or in the summer, because for those that are kind of new to recruiting, a lot of these kids take official visits in the month of June. So there's going to be a lot of June official visits, I expect. So you'll have some decisions coming in June, July. So I'd say around those times, spring game in the spring, and then into June, I think they're going to have a lot of visits. Then you have some kids that are kind of older school where they do it right before the year, or so and very few wait till the end. So I think the majority of them will be probably in the spring, summer, and I think that's what FSU wants. I think FSU would like to get it going, get a lot of these guys in the boat and knock it out. So I think my guess will be spring game time or June. I think that's kind of be the time frame. I think you'll see them.
Chris wonders, do you think they will expand the board at defensive tackle?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I think there's going to be guys that are added to that list. We've already seen some of that already. I mean, I think I've covered a lot of them already in the hot board. We broke that down. I think there's always more guys when you get to that month of June, because that's the heavy camp season. That's the time where you get guys in. You see a lot. You have the mega camp. You have the individual camps. You have even the big lineman big camps that they do like 2 or 3 of those. So I think you'll see a lot of new targets emerge. There's already a ton of guys that are already visiting this spring. I can't go over all of them because they happen so frequently every week that it's kind of just hard to recycle all of them and every single guy. But they're certainly getting some talented defensive tackles on campus. But I see it expanding even more than what it is already, Chris. So yes, I would say that's very distinct possibility that you'll see that board expand.
Check my logic. Hey, Michael, he waves at you.
Oh, gosh.
Please predict the LSU score. He's got Florida State winning 42-24. Let's go. All caps.
What do you think, Aslan? You gonna make yours, or you gonna just throw it on me?
I haven't watched I haven't read anything up on LSU spring, so I don't know. I don't think it'll be that lopsided.
I don't either.
I don't know if they'll get to 42 in week 1 either. I don't know. I'll say, I don't know, like 38-35 Noles. Ryan Fitzgerald game-winning walk-off, gets year started off right.
I'm going to go 31-24. I think teams are going to be sloppy. So I think the scoring will crank up. I just really like this FSU roster. I really like how they stand. They're going to be playing in their home state this time. I think LSU is going to bring it. It's going to be, certainly a passion and tight game, but I just like FSU to, pull it out. I think FSU has the better roster when I look at it. Both of them have phenomenal rosters, by the way. But I think certainly for me, that defensive line at FSU is really built up. Just the different playmakers they've added. I like FSU a little more, and I think FSU gets it done.
Troop. Which position do you think the 2024 class will be the most talented at, have the most difference makers?
There's no doubt receiver. I mean, you look at our hot board, I mean, you can break it down. I mean, there is like the most elite guys I can remember covering FSU in a long time, maybe probably going all the way back to Jimbo, that there's so many guys in that wide receiver hot board that's just elite. You're talking about, JoJo Trader, Jeremiah Smith, who we've already covered, Cam Coleman, who also visited this spring, LJ McCoy out of Miami Central, four-star receiver, Chance Robinson, James Madison. I mean, there's like 6, 7 guys that are featured guys that are just, this group is just kind of ridiculous with playmakers, and I think FSU is going to certainly want to capitalize on that. And some of those guys they sit good for, and some of them they're still work for. But I think the receiver position for me is the position that's just the most talented as far as different makers. There's so many top tier guys.
Cool Breeze wonders who is the top defensive back target after Charles Lester?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. I don't really have one for sure. I will say the one guy, and no, it won't make people feel good because he's only a 3-star right now. But Ricky, Knight is a guy that this staff is extremely high on. They like him a lot. I think FSU leads. He's also mentioned that I think Jamari Howard is another one that's listed there. I've heard that Jamari might come back to FSU for another visit. That's one they're extremely high on as far he's committed to Michigan State, but he likes FSU a lot. He likes what they're doing. He likes Surtain a lot. There's no question about that. So those are a few of the guys I think that certainly like it. I think we posted a hot board, kind of breaks down all the guys. I think Aslan could pull that back up, and I can kind of pinpoint a few guys more without looking at it. I just drawing kind of a blank because there's so many certainly talented corners. Now I will say John Mitchell committed to Penn State, so I'd keep an eye on that one because I think the main thing I was told was FSU wants to lock up Charles Lester. Like I don't anticipate them taking a commitment until they get him on board, and I think he's close. And that's kind of what leads into the segue is I think the next time Charles visits, I think he could pop. So he almost committed before when he visited early this spring, and I think that's a guy that he has that same nature that Hakeem Williams had last year, where I think he wants to get it done because he knows where he wants to be. I think that's FSU, and I think once Lester commits, then it kind of opens up stuff where we can discuss, the next one. I don't think they're pushing to the level of any guy the way they push for Lester. I've said it from the start of the year. This is the most coveted prospect that the FSU is recruiting at any position. I just think they want him so bad in this class, and from what I hear, it's looking really good. I've already put in an RPM pick for FSU based on the intel I've gotten. I think certainly I could see something happening with him in the spring and summer to kind of get things going, rolling the same way Hakeem did to kind of kickstart stuff. So picking a top DB, I've mentioned a few that kind of stand out, but those are kind of a couple, but I'm sure there's more. But I think right now the focus is getting Charles Lester in that boat, getting him with FSU, getting him committed. I think is the focus for FSU at that corner position.
Oh, let's see here. There's another question. Chris, which recruit does Florida State have a better shot with than most people are giving them credit with?
Ooh, that's a tough one. Let's see. Gosh, trying to pick and choose. It's hard. As far as hard, I would say like Landon Thomas, just because I think a lot of people are just set on like he's going to go to Georgia no matter what, because Georgia's a 2-time back-to-back national champions, and it's like it's just automatic. And I think that's a guy that there's a lot more of chance than people think. I think another one for 2025 is Alvin Henderson. He's a running back, 2025. Auburn's high up there, but I think FSU is a very unique situation where I think FSU connected the best with Alvin. I think Alvin loves FSU. He's one of their top tier prospects for 2025. He's going to visit again, I'm told, later in April again waiting to hear a date on that. But that's a guy to watch for as far as FSU. They don't usually get Alabama kids, but there's a different feel of people I talk to with intel inside his camp that they really feel FSU is a legit candidate and a legit player. So watch out, kind of for FSU with those two guys.
Elba. I used to cover them when I was in Alabama for that 1 year,
There you
man.
go.
It's a very small school, man. So that's cool to see a guy like that kind of shooting up the boards. What about isn't there a kid from Pensacola that's an offensive lineman that's really highly ranked and being recruited, if I'm not mistaken?
Yeah, Jonathan Daniels has a guy that FSU has been training for a while. He's
Okay.
actually going to take probably a midweek visit. Another one you guys are segueing me in. Like he could visit tomorrow, from what I hear. So I'm going to keep an eye on that if he does show up. I think FSU is the team that I hear the most buzz about. Obviously, they lead the RPM 80%, 90%. Maybe my eyes are going bad. I don't know if that's 90, but I think FSU sits in a solid spot. They feel good about where they stand with both Jonathan Daniels and Jason Zandamela. Another one that we've talked about previously. I think FSU is very focused on the center position this year. I think they want to add 2 in this class because they don't feel like there's a lot of depth there outside of Maurice. So I think they certainly want to add more there. And I think you see a lot of these guys like Jason and other interior guys that can play that center position. I think they also want tackles and all that other stuff. But I think with Jonathan, I think things are still pretty good. I think LSU is probably the biggest competition, from what I hear. But I think for now, I think FSU is in a pretty good spot.
All right. All right, man. That's about all the questions that we've got. About at the top of the hour, man. So we'll give it a wrap here. Michael, what's going to be going on this weekend over here in Tallahassee with Florida? Actually, I mean, it's going to be Easter weekend, so probably not a whole lot going on, but I know next
Right.
week we'll be back on Wednesday doing a live chat. What are some of the things that folks can check out? Obviously, you said that Matt's on the call working on some stuff, but some people that are joining us here late aren't aware of.
Yeah, Matt got an interview coming up with D.D. Holmes, defensive end out of the DMV area. He's visited FSU for multiple days. Matt will have that full breakdown. He even chimed in to let people know, like, hey, it's coming up. So, 4-star quarterback Cutter Boley is visiting tomorrow on Thursday, as is what I hear, running back and F/athlete, 4-star Makai Danzy out of Florida High. He's also expected to visit. 4-star defensive lineman Kendall Jackson is also going to visit. This is probably going to be the last visit day. I think there's a practice tomorrow, and it's probably be the last visit day that they have until after Easter. And then you'll have some more visitors. So we'll certainly be cranking up that stuff. I might have another recruiting intel spring update, wrap. I might come up with something with that. And certainly we're going to get up with a lot of these guys because we haven't got up with everybody, so there's still some guys that, had visited FSU that we're still working on, that we're still, trying to get a hold of them and talk to them and give the latest on their visits to FSU. So I just stay tuned to Warchant as far as these visits because they seem to rapidly, happen every week. Now we'll think there's going to be a little break for Easter weekend because there's going to be, I think FSU wants to kind of let families have their time with Easter, enjoy that. But then after that, I think, once we hit the April 10th area and 10 through the 15th, I think it's going to pick up again. And certainly the spring game, I think, is going to be extremely well attended. Obviously, I will be there with all the guys. We hope to meet a lot of you guys out there. It's going to be a lot of top recruits, expecting around 40 to 50 recruits there. So maybe even more to rise higher. So we'll have some detailed coverage on that. We'll grind out the hot board, which we've been releasing. Ira's been putting out. So we'll have a few more of that. And then, of course, I'll always drop some nuggets on the board, guys. I might have some later tonight or sometime tomorrow. So I might have some more stuff with that. So that's kind of some of the things that are coming up.
Z-Chan threw another $100 at us. Might as well round out to match Ray and James, he said. One last question at the horn. Any concerns with the kicker, Michael?
They have the number 1 kicker in the country coming in the 2024 class. Aslan can pull that up real quick.
Is he wavering or anything?
No. I think that question's popping up because if you read the Warchant reports or the reports out there from the team, is that there was one day where the kicking struggled a little bit. So he's probably asking about because of the kicking. Is that a question? So,
Okay.
yeah, FSU does have the number one kicker in the country, Jake Weinberg. He's coming in out of South Florida. Really good. Locked in with FSU, loves the Noles. So, yeah, outside of that, I don't know anything else.
Somebody down there in Boynton Beach, take a photo of this poor kid so he doesn't have to take a selfie and have it as his recruiting profile photo. Take a photo, send it to us. We'll get it all fixed up. Thank you to Z-Chan. Thank you to James B. Thank you to Ray Pereira. Their generosity is incredible, man. It's awesome. Makes these things that much more fun. They're already fun to begin with because y'all are involved too. If you could, please hit the thumbs up on the way out. We really would appreciate it. Go to the PRB, the Premium Recruiting Board, for even more recruiting news. Michael Langston got you covered. Matt Lasser as well. We'll be back out at practice tomorrow. Reports, observations, video, interviews, all that over on warchant.com. Subscribe. $29.99 from now up until September 1st. I mean, what else are you going to do with $30? Come on.
It's great. And like I said, we appreciate everything, guys, but definitely jump on board. It's getting better. Our community is getting bigger, it's hard to do that because Warchant's already so big, but just keep coming on and we'll keep busting out the content. We'll keep busting out everything that you want to know, the latest on team, recruiting, whatever you need. We're going to get it out there for you guys. So thanks to everyone. So we appreciate it.
Good sales pitch by Michael. He's Michael. I'm Aslan. Thanks for watching. Hit the thumbs up on the way out. We really would appreciate it. Thank you very much. Have a great one, everybody.